Bada bing, 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 bada bing, bing. Hey everyone, welcome to another conversation. In this conversation, we are going to be talking about how to heal the past. Now, why would we want to heal the past? Because literally we create our future based on where we've come from. And if we don't understand how to transcend the things in our past, then what we're going to do, we are literally going to project that into our future and hoping that like why we're going to do that is because we're going to try to do everything we can to protect ourselves. And what ends up happening is, like they say, by the time we're 35 years of age, 95% of our life is automatic unless we make our unconscious conscious. And so, what do you feel has shaped most of your life? What parts of your life has impacted you moving forward? How much of your life do you spend protecting yourself from getting hurt? Like, these are really, really important questions because what determines your ability to step out into the unknown is your relationship with your past, right? And so if you are going to want to get into a marriage, get into a relationship, build a business, pursue a career, like whatever it is, what's going to come up when you step out into the unknown is all the things that you haven't transcended from your past, right? Now, the good thing, anybody that's a self-evolving person understands that in order for us to evolve, then we have to press into the challenge, right? Like people that are not into self-evolving, they're going to do everything they can to avoid pain, right? And what we resist is going to persist, right? So you being able to know what it is that you want to create and then allowing yourself to go into those spaces so that you can transcend what has held you back is freedom. Like that's literally freedom, because do what you fear and death of that fear is certain. I think it's Henry Trudeau that said that, right? So a lot of people, and this has been my journey as well, like I show people how to change your past. Like you can literally change your past because think about every time you remember, right? You literally reattach yourself to the representation of the experience that you had in your past, right? Like remember, you're reattaching it to yourself. But the thing to keep in mind is that every time you revisit that memory, that experience, whatever it is, you are also a different person, right? And so understanding on my end, there we go. Okay. So understanding as you evolve, you're also going to evolve that past memory, right? Now, one of the greatest, I call this the sham, because we've all been conditioned not to fail. We've all been conditioned to stay in a box. We've all been conditioned, don't ask questions. We've all been conditioned. The authority figures are the ones that are supposed to tell us what we're supposed to do and not do. We've all been conditioned to believe this stuff, right? Like this is the sham. This is the society's hypnotic altered matrix, which I've talked about many, many, many times, right? And so because of that, we end up getting atrophied in some of our most powerful resources within ourselves, right? The greatest resource that you have within yourself is your ability to narrate the experiences that you have in your life now and have had in the past, right? Because beliefs are formed by authority, intensity, and repetition, right? So think of the word authority. The first part of the word authority is author. So the society's hypnotic altered matrix, right? The sham is what was the authority that has shaped what you believe is possible today, right? Like I can't tell you, I literally cannot tell you how many times I've come up with this, what can I call it? This issue where people are afraid of making mistakes because, and it's not them afraid of making the mistake that's causing the issue. It is the narrative they create around making the mistake that is the issue, right? Because see, I don't know where you grew up and went to school. Like, I don't even know if I should reveal that, right? But understand when I went to school, they would post all the test scores out in the hallway, right? Put them out in front of everybody. And then guess what? If you failed a test, you didn't memorize, and you weren't able to fit into the box that they wanted to put you into, they would put a big red F on your paper. massive, massive humiliation. Now, this is what's super important to understand about this. So what happens inside of our psychic as a result of that, right? Like what happens inside of our psychic as a result of that, right? Do not fail or you get separated from your tribe. Like that's what is created in our psychic. And see, what ends up happening is that we take on that emotion and we do not ever want to experience that emotion again. So we create all these parts that end up being defenders so that I don't ever experience that again. So we made the decision, do not do anything where the possibility of failure is a possibility, right? Because failure means I'm going to be humiliated. That's what the sham has taught us, right? So it's important for us to look at, what does failure mean to you, right? Like, what does failure mean to you? What does it mean to be wrong? Like, I love being wrong. I love it. Like when I'm working with my clients and I see something, and I see patterns and things like that, I'll tell them, like, I love being wrong. But most time I don't happen to be wrong, but I always put that out there that it's possible that I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, then we get to look at something different, right? But see, we've been trained and conditioned and programmed that being wrong, thinking independently, thinking creatively, testing options, all these different things are things that are going to cause humiliation within ourselves, right? So this is how you learn to heal your past, is you start getting in touch with how you've been conditioned to be the person that you are today and not have any judgments about it, not have any characterization about it. Just understand, by the age of 5, 75% of your life of what you access was done by the age of 5. Right now, think about that. By the age of 5, how many of those years were you able to understand and construct sentences effectively, right? Like 1 to 2, or 0 to 2, not many of us. Like, I don't know how old I was when I started talking, right? And having complete sentences. How much of our lives has been impacted and we didn't even understand communication, right? Now, this is what's really, really important. 93%, 93% of communication is done non-verbally. Okay. So as a child, you're going to pick up on energies. You're going to pick up on frequencies. You're going to put up on postures. You're going to pick up on all these things that are going to impact the beliefs that you have today. Right. And so think of the term filthy rich. Right now, you hear that term as a child, you hear it on TV, your parents say it, whatever, like however you get introduced to that concept, filthy rich. Okay. Then you evolve and you start becoming more and more intelligent. You start having different bandwidths, and then you get introduced to that word filthy again. Filthy, filthy is associated with being bad, right? So then you go, oh, okay, cool, filthy rich. So that being rich is bad, right? So these are all the things that we have been conditioned to believe at an unconscious level, and this is what keeps us from stepping into our greatness, right? So the reason I'm sharing all this is the importance of why is it so important for us to get in touch with our past and healing it so that we can literally create the life that we want to create. Like, I've coached some 9-figure entrepreneurs that were absolutely miserable, right? Because they drove themselves into the ground. The reason they drove themselves into the ground is because they didn't know how to manage their energy, right? True profit is being able to manage your energy inside of you, like doing what you do and having it fulfill you, right? Ghosting is a totally nonverbal. Yeah, absolutely. Right. There's lots of different ways to impact people and do some things that are not aligned with our higher self. So your relationship with your past has everything to do with the future you're going to create. Your relationship with your past is going to have everything to do with the future you're going to create, right? Because it's going to keep showing up in ways that are going to support you and you learning how to transcend it, right? If we're not aware of that, then we're going to be creating breakdowns. See, anytime we create something out of fear, we are already setting it up to break it down. Now, friends, please understand this. I do not have this down by any stretch of the imagination. This is mastery. Like, yes, I've transcended lots and lots and lots of things, healed lots and lots of trauma, like all that stuff, but I'm still human and I still get to keep moving forward, right? But understanding, see, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm totally okay with that. I understand that we are all on a journey, that we all have a timeline, and I show people how to literally change their timeline, how to change their past right? By going back into them experiences and seeing it as an empathetic witness. Now, most guys, us guys, have been conditioned. You don't have feelings. You just suck it up. You just be tough. Just be the man of the house, right? Like, what the heck does that mean? Right? Like, most men do not get in touch with their emotional world, right? And until we do, we are living a very atrophied life because emotions are the tapestry of our life. Our ability to feel and transcend it and not be controlled by it, that is what makes life so rich, right? But it is our past that keeps us from looking at um, re-experiencing the emotions, because for some of us, and this has been my journey as well, for some of us, we think that love equals pain, right? Because some of the experiences that we've had as a child, right? Or we have, like, it amazes me. And I'm not saying this to insult anybody. I get it. Like, how many people I've talked to when I had my dog, like I lost my dog last year, right? Devastated me. Like, last year, you guys all know, last year was a nuclear reactor in my life. But I've talked to a number of people that have lost dogs, and they said, I'll never get a dog again. They're allowing a past pain to control the rest of their life. Like, I think that's a tragedy, right? Like, the pain that I felt when Adamus died, when Adamus passed, was the reflection of my love for him, right? And see, this is the thing to really step into. Love is not finite. Love is not finite. Love is infinite, right? And so we don't have an X factor of love that we get to give for somebody, right? And so to live our lives protecting ourselves from pain is not a very high quality level of life, right? Like, I will again Adamus was my third Dobie. I don't know if I'll ever get a Dobie again. I'm open to it, but I will definitely get a dog again. I love dogs. Dogs are amazing, right? But I'm not going to let a past hurt keep me from getting out there and creating the life that I want to have, right? What if you got intentional about letting go of the things that you don't want to re-experience again? Because guess what? Your subconscious mind does not make the distinction of whether it's positive or negative. So if you're focusing on what you don't want to create, you're going to recreate it, because it doesn't process things negative or positive. That's your conscious mind's job, right? That's why they say what you resist is going to persist, because you're going to keep attracting it into your life. So why not learn how to step into your greatness and learn how to transcend the pain from your past so that you become more fearless. Okay. I'm going to drop a bomb here. Fearlessness. This is what fearlessness is: letting go of the anticipation of loss. Now, why do we have the anticipation of loss? Because of past experiences, right? And we don't want to re-experience the same emotion. But see, friends, understand, as long as we are afraid of re-experiencing something that's happened in the past, is the very indicator that tells you that that emotion is still trapped inside of you. Because if the emotion wasn't trapped inside of you, you wouldn't be afraid of re-experiencing it, right? Like, I'm a massive Formula One fan, right? And you watch these guys hit a wall at 180 miles an hour. They hit, I don't know, about 60 G's. I think one of them, the crash last year, was like 150 some G's they hit when they hit the wall. 150 G's slammed into a wall. Gets in the car the next day and drives that car like nothing happened. That's mastery. That's mastery. Like, what would be possible for you if you didn't live your life based on the dictates of what's happened in your past, right? Like, go after the relationship that you want, go after the career that you want, go after the business that you want, go after and make your dreams a reality, right? Like, that's what was given to you, but don't domesticate it based on what's happened in your past, right? The sham conditioned you to play small. The reason it conditioned you to play small is so that like, that could be a whole other conversation, so that you can create to be an employee, so that you will conform. That's what the sham taught you to do, is to conform, right? They use guilt tactics. Now, friends, please hear me. Please hear me when I say this. I originally went to college to be an art teacher, right? Then I started seeing that they were cutting back on art programs. So I made even a more bright decision and went, I'm just going to be a full-time artist. Like, it was what it was, right? But so I'm not here to say I hate education. Education is very, very, very important. But I align with what Napoleon Hill says. The word educate literally is educo, which means to draw from within, right? It means to draw from within yourself, right? But the society hypnotic altered matrix has made you believe that you're supposed to stay in the lines. Guess what programs they cut first when they started having budget cuts? All the creative thinking classes, right? Like you think about the things, and friends, I got a 7-year college degree, right? So like I've been I got very bought into how this is supposed to happen. Like every single person on here can finish this sentence. Go to school so that you can get a good education, so that you can get a good job. That has been indoctrinated in us since kindergarten through the whole system. And when you understand that school loans, the interest on school loans is one of the biggest income sources for the government, you start going, oh my gosh, like, wow, that's kind of amazing, right? You were designed and destined for greatness, right? But see, our conditioning is what, so this past weekend, I got to live out a childhood fantasy. Like never in my wildest dreams thought I'd be able to do this. And I ended up having the opportunity to drive a Lamborghini. And man, did I drive it. I loved it. My buddy's, it was his Lamborghini. I think he he was putting a hickey in the seat. Just put it that way. Like I took off in it and just had a blast, right? But see, the thing that's interesting is cars have a certain potential, right? Like this Lambo took off. Like it was fast and went, it was a riot. But see, then what they did, like my car out here in the garage, my Audi, it can only go to a certain point and then it shuts down. Not shuts down, but it only can go to a certain point. They've installed governors on these cars so that you cannot see what is the fullest potential of this car, right? They've installed a governor. Okay, so you can't even see what the potential of my car really is, right? I've yet to hit it. Like I've gotten up there, but I haven't hit the limiter yet. But the reason they did that is because of people that were irresponsible with that kind of power. Okay. So what they've done through the conditioning of the sham is that they've all installed governors inside of our head, right? Like there's all kind, like friends, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. They said that we've only used like 20% of our brain. There was a conversation about that where a TED talk, I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? How can we only use 20% of our brain? That means that 80% of our brain's going to die. I'm like, what? Like you can use 20% of your car and still have a great life with your car and not ever understand how fast it can really go, right? Like it just absurd when I heard that. So they installed governors inside of our head through the conditioning, through the programs, through the beliefs, through all that stuff that we have been programmed to believe, and make us have governors on side of us, because the ones that control the programmings are the ones that are going to determine the behavior and how we show up, right? They all want us to believe that we need a good corporate job so that we can be drones to what it is that they want to create. Now, friends, please hear me. I've been in corporate world, very successful in corporate world. So this is not against anybody that's in that world, right? Just understanding, if you're going to be there and do your thing, right? But do it because it's out of your agency, out of your choice, right? Like you love doing what you do, right? But how many people are living unfulfilled lives because they can't see past the conditioning? Your conditioning is what determines what you see as possible. Like I'm just telling you that, right? So this is mission critical that you learn to change your past. You learn to change the narratives and the conditioning that has created the life that you have now. Now, Tony Robbins said this, number one reason for fatal heart attack after the age of 55, number one reason for fatal heart attacks in men after the age of 55 is job dissatisfaction. Job dissatisfaction. And if you think about how much energy we put into creating our careers, and if it's not fulfilling, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? I would rather live on the edge and do everything I could to get my business to go to the level that I wanted to go than to go punch into a job that wasn't fulfilling me. I would much rather live that way. Much rather live that way. Now, I didn't get here in one day, but it's me learning to do the things that I've done to let go of the conditioning, right? Like I grew up on welfare. I grew up having to go to church. I grew up in a ghetto. Like I get it. Like I get it. And like my good old boy says, excuses are very expensive beliefs, right? So what if you started investing in your energy into things that are going to support you to call the greater version of you forward? What if you started investing in the ROI Accelerator Challenge, which is going on the bottom here? I'm going to be doing that here after the first of the year. Get on the waitings list. This next one's going to be off the charts, right? This Accelerator Challenge, ROI Accelerator Challenge is oh my gosh, it's amazing what's going on in people's lives because they're letting go of the things that have kept them playing small and they're stepping into their greatness and creating things that are just absolutely amazing. right? So my friends, ask yourself, what are you willing to do to find out what your greatness really is? You're one idea. You're one decision away from changing the rest of your life. You are one decision away from changing the rest of your life. And if 2020 didn't show us all something very, very, very profound, everything can change in the blink of an eye. Everything can change in the blink of an eye. Okay. I know very well where I was at March 13th of 2020 when the world got shut down. Right. And so if you don't think it's going to happen again, friends, I'm here to tell you that that is just foolish ignorance. It's going to happen again. Right. Like where we're going in right now, like we are in a recession. I don't care if they say that we're not, we are massively in a recession. Right. And your ability to trust that you can create money out of thin air, that you're delivering value that other people will pay you for is absolutely freedom. That's absolutely freedom right there. So, my friends, if you haven't signed up for the ROI Accelerator Challenge, our ROI Accelerator Challenge, do so. It would be the greatest thing you've ever done. Love to see you over there. And till next time, be blessed. And as always, live like your life depends on it, because it does. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you being here. If there's anything I can do for you, please comment that below. Also, if you're not following me on TikTok, I've got 2 accounts over there, and I want to get my other account to 1,000. It's just the Jeff Faldone one. I got Coach Jeff Faldone and I got Jeff Faldone. The Jeff Faldone, I'm trying to get to 1,000 so I can do live TikToks on Christmas Day so that I can support people that are home alone for the holiday seasons. I want to do everything I can to support them. So if you could get over there and follow me, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. So everybody, have a great evening. Be blessed and much love. Take care.